From his iconic fights versus Romero to his relentless pursuit of Izzy, Whittaker's career is full of amazing moments. And a lot of these moments were brutal finishes, like what he did to Brad Tavares back in 2015. Now, this was early in Robert's career, and he was still building his reputation, but everyone already knew this man was a killer. Yeah, he wasn't known as the Reaper for nothing.
There after Tavares landed heavily again to that lead leg.
And for Whittaker, you got to watch out for that slick left hook. He throws it from everywhere. There it is. Man, oh!
2 early knockdowns for Whittaker.
Oh,
Tavares is gone. Robert Whittaker!
Tavares had a lot of reasons to be afraid, but we were still expecting a fight. You gotta remember, this was back in 2015, and Bobby Knuckles had just been KO'd by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson a year ago. But what ended up happening was a completely shocking slaughter. Tavares got butchered, and we saw the Reaper walk him down and catch him with a slick left hook at the very beginning of round 1. What followed was a sequence of deadly strikes that put down the rattled Tavares. 44 seconds, guys. That's all it took for the Reaper to shut this guy down. And while this win was pretty early on in his career, there was another incredible finish he pulled off even earlier than this.
Another big shot by Whittaker. Whittaker uncorks perfectly timed combinations. Look how, again, the Whittaker makes the use of the distance so well.
Robert Whittaker finishes Colton Smith.
That's right, all the way back in 2013, he finished Colton Smith. And, just by the way, this was only the Aussie fighter's second year fighting with the promotion. If you thought he'd bend to the pressure of those early fights though, you're dead wrong. And Colton found out how deadly this man was the hard way. The unbelievable finish came in the 3rd round of the fight, and you could already tell how the fight was going just by looking at the fighters. Rob looked excellent, and Smith was a wreck. The guy was bloodied up and his face was cut open. As round 3 began, we saw Robert landing his signature left hook again and again, and it got so bad that Smith broke. He made a desperate attempt at a takedown from way outside. Clearly, he didn't want to stand and trade anymore. When the double leg failed though, Smith got even more desperate and rushed in hoping to land a big shot. Unfortunately for him though, the Reaper is a master of distance control, and he found the opening for a beautiful shot right on his opponent's chin. It was an amazing finish, and at 41 seconds of the 3rd round, Colton was on the canvas. Now, as amazing as this fight was, as I said, it happened very early on, all the way back when Rob was fighting at welterweight. His most deadly finishes, though, all came at middleweight.
Brunson, he looks rocked, he's still dazed.
Yeah, Whittaker bombing away with uppercuts, now the straight right. This place is deafening. Robert Whittaker with a head kick.
How is Brunson standing? Uppercuts from Whittaker.
There goes Brunson.
Starting with the destruction of Ronaldo Souza in 2017. And Souza was no small deal either, guys. He was supposed to be a big challenge for the Reaper, and even though the fight going the Aussies' way as round 1 ended, it looked like it might go the distance. In round 2 though, Bobby Knuckles stepped on the gas and broke through his opponent's defenses. And it was brutal. At around 3 minutes into the round, Whittaker let loose a powerful head kick, and even though it didn't knock out the veteran he was facing, it hurt him pretty bad. The Reaper, true to his name, wasted no time and rushed the guy with some beautiful and precise shots to the face and body. Souza went down to his back, and even though he tried to pull guard, the Aussie jumped in there and finished him off with a painful ground and pound. Now, this fight came 3 years into the Aussie fighter's move up to middleweight, but he set the tone of how deadly he was gonna be with his very first fight in the division.
Lactic acid build-up in those muscles, making the punches cumbersome. Robert
Hester's retreating, Dan.
Yeah. Oh, he goes down with a knee.
Whittaker's coming
He
through
goes
with some
down with a
heavy
knee.
shots. That is it. Robert Whittaker with cries of joy as he takes the victory in the 2nd round.
Yep, all the way back in 2014, Rob took out Clint Hester. And remember, this was his debut fight in the middleweight division. Plus, to make the pressure even worse, this was a make or break moment for his career. Yeah, this move to the heavier weight class came in the same year that Wonder Boy KO'd the Aussie. He had to win. Also, Hester was a huge guy, and he towered over Rob. There was a lot of potential for heartbreak for the Aussie fans. But anyone who doubted Whittaker soon regretted regretted it as he demolished a gigantic Hester. And the blow that sent his opponent down was an insane knee to the face. The knee itself was crazy, and I still have trouble understanding how it even reached Clint's head, as both fighters were standing upright when it landed. In any case, the shot connected, Hester went down, and the Reaper mercilessly unloaded a flurry of shots at the downed fighter's head. And just like that, Whittaker's debut in the middleweight division ended with a KO win in the second round. Now that we've gone through all of the other finishes from his UFC career, I've got to talk about the most epic one he's ever pulled off. I'm talking about the fight with Derek Brunson. And once again, his rival is no small deal. But to understand how good this guy is, let me just start with a simple statistic. He's currently the number 5 guy in the middleweight division. Yeah, that's a huge deal. And back in 2016, when this happened, he was still one of the top guys in the division. Think about it. This man is so good, he's ranked above Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland. And Whittaker didn't just beat him, no, he finished the guy. Still, considering how good both these men were, the fight went the distance, right? Well, no. The Reaper had taken his opponent's soul within the very first round. The win came at 4 minutes of the first round when Whittaker landed a deadly straight right that dazed Brunson. And what's more, the American's right eye was suddenly shut. He took some serious damage. Still, he managed to survive that initial strike. That didn't change the outcome though, and Bobby Knuckles walked the guy down to the fence and let loose a beautiful head kick. The combination was deadly, and he followed the kick with a flurry of punches. The ref, Herb Dean, finally called the fight after Brunson took a pounding on the canvas. This is it for the finishes that Whittaker has gotten in the UFC. But when talking about his victories, there are 2 other fights I just have to mention. I'm talking about Whittaker versus Romero 1 and Whittaker versus Till. And both these fights were amazing. The performances were so dominant that it wouldn't have been surprising if he had ended up getting finishes in both these matches. First off, the bout against Till was amazing, not just because of the fight itself, but also because of the circumstances surrounding it. Yeah, this was the Aussie fighter's big return to the octagon after being brutally knocked out by the last stylebender at UFC 243, and he came back looking amazing. I mean, Till is one of the best middleweights now, and he was back in 2020. But Whittaker put on an absolute show of technical striking and won via decision. As impressive as this was though, his first match against Romero was even better, and it happened back in 2017. It was the showdown everyone had been waiting for, the Soldier of God versus the Reaper. These two were both monsters, and they both looked on track to take the middleweight belts. No one knew who was going to win, and that's exactly why this win was so huge for Robert. Anyone who still doubted him had to shut up after he dominated Romero, and left Vegas as the interim champ of the division. Those were some of Whittaker's best finishes and most impressive wins in the UFC.